Welcome to the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast with your host and realtor, the Fraser Hughes Experience. And do not forget to Hughes it or lose it.
I am the Fraser Hughes Experience Realtor, and welcome to the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast, broadcasting from the Star City and beyond, from the Great Valley of Roanoke, Virginia, where I have grown up, where I went crazy in the alleys. There's a bunch of alleys in our town, and so I would, be crazy in the alleys when I was a kid, a teenager. We would get in the cars and drink beer and drive in the alleys and smoke cigarettes and blast music. I'm surprised I didn't get arrested more than once. But anyways, great to be here in my hometown as a realtor and thriving in the business. And it is all mindset. Plus plugging into your database and to your network of people, your sphere. That's what they teach at Keller Williams, and digging in to see, hey, who needs to sell and find a home? Because, a lot of folks that are selling homes right now are people that are flipping houses, people that are dying, people that are getting a divorce, and people that just have to move because of jobs. And those are a lot of the folks that I am running into. And people have to sell homes. So are you going to be the agent that gets one of those homes to sell and helps people find a home? So right now in Roanoke, Virginia, it is beginning to not look a lot like Christmas, but the leaves are beginning to change and fall is here. And a lot of times when I step into homes, people ask me, because I sell a lot of houses, they'll say, hey, Fraser, do you really want to get the house on the market in the fall? We've heard the market has changed. Well, I can tell you that most recently, a seminar that I was taking notes on, they were discussing the housing market nationwide. And they were discussing homes and what's going to happen right now. And there is a housing shortage in the United States. So what is happening right now is that you've got a lot of folks that want houses, people that are moving here. They don't care about the interest rates, and they want to purchase a home. And because there is a shortage, the market is still hot. So price is a factor. Now, a lot of folks will tell me, hey, Fraser, let's price this house at X amount of dollars and see what we can get. And other realtors will say, hey, we got to price this thing in the sweet spot. If not, it could sit on the market a little while. I can tell you from my experience, and this is over 100 plus homes under my belt, right? Regardless of the market, if the price is right with the inventory being low, the house is going to go under contract. And all the homes I'm selling are going under contract within about a week to a week and a half. So I just listed a house yesterday, and this is right here, came in through a text on my phone. Hey, Fraser, we're bringing you in an offer. And it's over asking. All right? Over asking price. We've got cash deals, we've got financing, and people, if they want a home, they don't care about the interest rates. No buyer is coming up to me and saying, man, I'm not buying a home right now because of the interest rates. If a buyer's coming to me, they're getting pre-qualified, they're running the numbers, and they're saying to their spouse, significant other, or to themselves, hey, I can handle this payment, right? And then they're moving forward to purchase the house. Days on the market right now, about 8. Cumulative days on the market are around 30-ish and some change, maybe a little bit more or a little bit less. Now, that cumulative days on the market, that's when you get the contract and when it finally closes. So when I get a house under contract, we're trying to close in about 30 to 40 days. I want to give enough time for inspections, if there are inspections, the bank to do an appraisal, and make sure everybody's comfortable and has time to move. So we're working for both sides here. I'm selling the houses, and I'm also trying to be fair with everyone, because having an open-minded heart is key, seeing things from other people's point of view. There's a lot of personalities in real estate to deal with, and so you have to be open to everybody's personalities, right? I mean, I'm selling homes for airplane pilots. One's an air traffic controller, right? 2 different personalities right there. One's a flipper, one's getting retired, one sells insurance. So, all different walks of life, being able to accommodate them to help them sell their homes. So that's, giving you, taking the temperature of the market. Sorry, I'm a little jacked up. I just took some athletic greens and drank some coffee right before I did the podcast. So, when people drink a cup of coffee, they're ready to talk. So I'm sharing with you today on the podcast. I like to always give you the temperature of the market, but my $1 million listing. So I live in the town of Roanoke, Virginia, where the average home is around $285,000, $300,000. And that price is slowly climbing as homes are in demand. And $1 million listings there's not a ton of them, really. And if you're going to find $1 million listing in our area, it's typically going to be up at Smith Mountain Lake, or maybe Hunting Hills, South Roanoke, and maybe out in Daleville, Botetourt, and some areas of Salem. But it's not like there's tons of them. It's not like everybody's selling $1 million listings. So when I sold my $1 million listing, it is the most exposure that I have received on social media this year, besides when my stepfather passed away, because I wanted to honor my stepdad, and I posted about him and how cool he was. And a lot of people reached out to me, and I feel like it's important to share certain life events, definitely not all of them on social media. And I wanted to share the $1 million listing with everyone and let them know, like, hey, I'm proud of this accomplishment. And I feel like the real estate gods are watching out for me. I try to do the next right thing. I try to, work in the best interest for my clients, and I try to make a good living so I can be my own boss and have financial freedom and take care of my family and treat others well. And being able to get the $1 million listing was a huge accomplishment for me. And anytime you go and track numbers in the Roanoke Valley MLS where we live, the top realtors are usually at the lake because they're selling $1.2, $2.2, $4.4 million homes, going by that volume. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily, like I could maybe sell more homes than other people, but if they're selling a higher price point, that's how you can stack the numbers up. Yet, to be able to walk into a home in the Cay Springs, Salem, South Roanoke, Grandin Court, some of my favorite areas, Boone's Mill, Botetourt, Vinton, and say, hey, I just sold this $1.2 million home, gives me a lot of credibility. And it reminds me so much of when I sold luxury cars. In 2017, before I left to get into real estate, I was the salesman of the year at Berglund Luxury. And I remember, when I first started Berglund Luxury, there was a $250,000 Range Rover on the floor. On the showroom floor right outside of my office. I called my wife and I said, there's a car out here that's more expensive than our house. I ended up selling it. And when I sold the $1.2 million listing, I want to tell you this. I treated them just as well as my clients I have on Mountain Avenue in Old Southwest that are selling a $140,000 home. And I was just as emotionally invested in making sure everyone gets treated well and taking this seriously for all transactions, because all of my clients are important to me. It's not just a number. I mean, the 1.2 is a big number, yet people aren't just numbers to me. It's all about taking care of the client and making sure it's a big deal to me to make sure your house gets sold and you're treated well and fairly. How did I get this $1.2 million listing? It was a referral. A friend of mine that I've known for a long time lived in the neighborhood, but not on the street in Hunting Hills. And he said, hey, look, I know these folks, and they are getting ready to move. If you want to, I can drive you up to their house and you can put something in their mailbox that has your information on it. I was like, well, yeah, sure. He goes, the house is probably going to be $1 million and some change. I was like, okay, great. I mean, who wouldn't say, let's put something in their mailbox? And so we went up there and I put some information in their mailbox, and I then said, hey, well, can I get their phone number? So I got their phone number and I said, hey, is it okay if I call them? I got their phone number from him. He said, yeah, just give her a call. So I called my client. At the time, didn't know them. I said, hey, my name's Frazier Hughes. I'm one of the top realtors with Keller Williams. Could I come by your house, and discuss the possibility of selling it for you? And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. So we scheduled an appointment, I put together a CMA, a comparative market analysis of the home, and looked at some of the other homes in the area. And sometimes pricing homes can be tricky. I've priced homes all up and down the East Coast, Florida, Raleigh, Charlotte, Richmond. I told you that I had a bunch of coffee, or the Athletic Greens, and Roanoke, most importantly. And sometimes us realtors, we don't always get the price right. I had the price right on the money for this. And we were right on in the ballpark. When I gave them my comparative market analysis, I was at about 1.2, and they said that's what we were thinking as well. And I was like, yes. I was like, good. That's good, because you want to be on the same page, right? When it comes to pricing the home. And if you're not, it's okay. Really, we're human beings. Computers are punching out these numbers too, right? And you're just doing it to your best of your ability to try to get the price right. So I also took them this magazine I have right here. It is, let's see, this is the Valley Business Front, and I write articles, bi-monthly articles in the Valley Business Front, and I took them. I said I also write for a magazine, and I showed them I was voted best realtor by Roanoke magazine, platinum last year, gold this year. Hal Cohn got platinum this year. Love him so much. He said that we can just trade off getting the awards. Brad Harris was silver. So anyways, I showed them that I received this award, and just let them know that, hey, I am the guy. I can do this. And they really liked it. They said, well, let's talk about it. And so I was thinking, gosh, I hope that they choose me as their realtor. Now, one other thing I did when I went to meet them, I wore a 3-piece suit because I wanted to show, it's $1 million listing. I did not know them. They never met me before. And I wanted to impress them, and wanted to look good, sound good, make sure everything, I was firing on all cylinders. So about a week went by, and I'm sitting here in my office, and right outside the door here in our training room, my broker was giving a training class on contracts. It was a contracts class on listings, signing the listing agreement, which is an exclusive right to represent seller in the state of Virginia. So she was talking about this to a group of people, and I slid open my office door here, and I said, hey, I think I might have this listing here in Hunting Hills. It's for $1.2 million. And I said, but they're not ready to sell until next spring. So this was September, October. And she goes, oh, not next spring. Okay. She goes, Frazier, you need to get them to sign that listing agreement right now. And I was thinking, well, but wait, they're not going to list till, a year from now, or next spring. And she goes, Frazier, what if Christmas time rolls around and your client is at a party in Hunting Hills, and one of their friends or neighbors comes up to them and says, hey, we use this realtor to sell our house, and you should call them. They're going to forget about you, Frazier, or they might, and they'll go with them. So immediately I picked up the phone and said, hey, if you all would like to use me as your realtor, I'm going to send you a listing agreement. And they said, sure, that's fine. So I sent them a listing agreement dated for the spring, and they signed it, and that locked them in, because if another realtor comes along, they would have to break that agreement. So for an entire year, I sat on that listing agreement, and I followed up with them. And every few weeks I would check in. I would send them market updates on homes in their neighborhood. I would send them a Christmas card or Christmas gift. And then finally spring rolled around, and they weren't ready to move yet. And we didn't list their house until a year later. So I waited for an entire year, and I just kept telling myself, I was like, Frazier, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. There were some times I would text them and I wouldn't hear back from them, because sometimes you'll text people and you don't hear back from them for like days, or sometimes they don't, they just get busy. And I was nervous. I was like, gosh, I really want this listing. And I was like, if it's meant to be, Frazier, it's meant to be. And I would tell myself, hey, you're successful enough. You don't have to have this listing to stay afloat, pay your bills, be successful. And it all unfolded. I hooked them up with Lawrence Transportation here in Roanoke, who moved them. I sent the mover to their house to meet with them. The mover and I met with them, which I thought was good because the mover could take their temperature and we could build rapport together. And I just closed on the house. And it was the most attention I've received on social media in a long time. I mean, it was almost like, when people post their baby photos, not baby photos, but the weird pregnant photos, or just got married or just got engaged. It was like that much exposure. I mean, people were commenting on it left and right. And I told the story. I told the story about how I used to sell cars, and I never thought I was going to get into sales because I'd been on 8 radio stations. I thought that's what I was going to do, and that my wife and I split up, and I didn't want to leave my kids, so I stayed here in town. And then my mom commented and said, "Hey, don't forget you got your lovely wife." And I thank my wife. She's the one that said you should get your real estate license. The credibility that provides me is massive, because now on my resume, I've got it. I've got it under my, it's on Zillow, it's on Google. It's there to stay. And when I walk into one of these neighborhoods and I'm getting ready to, meet with someone about selling a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 home, or even our average price point, $285,000, $300,000, I could be off a few bucks there. They see that I've just sold this. And it was a big deal to me. And it reminded me a lot of when I sold the car off the showroom floor. And, when I closed on it, I felt grateful, but I knew that, it was something bigger than me that made this happen and this accomplishment take place. And, I know that my true happiness is within inside, because back in 1996, when I first got on the radio, I thought once I was on the radio for a little while and got some fame, it would bring me happiness. And I thought maybe once I reached a certain plateau in my real estate, which I don't feel like I've reached the plateau, I'll really be happy. Or if I make a certain amount of money, it's all an inside job. It really is. It's nice to have money and be able to save and go on trips, but really true peace is within. And I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful I got to sell the house, and I'm thankful for everyone's, everyone congratulating me. I feel like I'm just getting started. I feel like it's what I'm meant to do. And the lesson I want you to learn today is that it's never too early to sign the contract. It's never too early to seal the deal. If someone says that they're going to go with you as your realtor, get them to sign the contract sooner than later. And then just establish and build that relationship along the way. Milk them, nourish them. Is milk them the correct term? I don't think so. All right, my producer says he doesn't think so. But, nurture them along the way and stay in touch with them. And, good things will happen, because there is $1 million listing in you. I'm the Fraser Hughes Experience Realtor, and this is the Run It Real Estate Podcast. Thanks for listening today. And if you need to sell your home here in the Roanoke Valley, all you got to do is Google Fraser Hughes, Fraser with a Z. I'll pop right up. 540-314-5583. That's 540-314-5583. Best of Roanoke Realtor on Instagram, the Fraser Hughes Experience Realtor on Facebook, LinkedIn, Fraser Hughes. I've got an amazing team of beautiful, wonderful people. We're ready to help you sell and find your home in the Valley. All price points, as I mentioned, right? Doesn't matter who you are. So I hope you have a great day. Stay positive, and don't forget, the experience is real.
Want to be on the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast? Call Fraser now or text 540-314-5583. Also contact Fraser to sell or find your next home. And he is always fresh on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Stay positive, Star City and Hughes. Don't lose it.